what you asked for, which is not the same as pure hedging. You don't want to be defensive. You want profit from a downturn, but you don't want to get burned badly. Okay, then you're explicitly talking about put spreads. Oh, I see. Okay, so it's actually saying two different things here. I understand. So what we want is we actually want it to hedge, right? So if we're going to own TQQQ on a regular basis, then we would probably want to own puts to hedge that position that should make us some money on the way down. Whereas the phrasing that I was saying was like, oh, we just want to make money on the way down. So I guess it depends, right? Like, do we want a strategy that is hedging and we're protecting ourselves, or do we want to have something that's like actually going to make money? So I guess that's the difference here. I would say I would prefer to do this, right? Okay, so I wouldn't buy the put spread, right? Buy the puts. Okay. So and then if we have long dated puts, I wonder how we should be doing this. So it's saying 0 to 15% out of the money. Okay, so let's say strikes around. Okay, so let's say strikes around at the money to slightly out of the money. Say 0 to 15% out of the money. And then longer maturities, often around 6 to 12 months. That's what we want. Right? Okay, so we have a strategy here. This is what we want to build. It's going to own TQQQ if we're above the 200-day moving average. We're going to use 90% of the account for that. And then we're going to use the other 5% of the account. So we're going to have a little bit of cash sitting around, which, maybe we don't need to do that. Maybe we'll go 7%. We'll have a little bit of a cash buffer just in case, because you kind of want a little bit of cash for trading. It makes things a little bit easier to trade if you leave a little bit of cash around. If I've found that. Right, and then it's going to use 7% of the account to buy puts. That is described like this below. You might have to sell some TQQQ in order to buy the puts if you don't have enough cash or if the ratio is off, right? And then strikes around at the money. And then we also need to say buy SPY puts. So the reason why I'm saying SPY puts, we could also say puts on QQQ. Maybe that would be better. I'm not sure. Maybe let's buy QQQ puts. So because we're buying TQQQ, that's a triple leveraged NASDAQ on the way up. And then we buy puts on the QQQ, which is also a NASDAQ. So they're related to each other and they're kind of straddling that. I was going to say SPY because SPY options are very, very liquid, but I think we'll be fine buying the QQQ puts. Let's generate this. Go ahead. Let's see the AI actually build this out. We'll see what happens. I'm actually quite curious to see what happens with this. And we'll give the AI, it usually takes about a minute or two to generate a strategy. So we'll let that happen and then we'll be able to run a back test. We're actually a little bit over our 1 hour mark here, but I'm just curious. I don't know if you guys are curious. I'm very curious to see how this strategy works out. Is this is a strategy that I've actually thought about for quite some time. Having this kind of strategy where you own a leveraged position, right? So you make a lot of money on the way up using leverage, and then you have a put option that's kind of cutting off the bottom, right? So if things go really bad, it like protects you. I think that would be a pretty interesting thing to do.
So what do you think about that? Put it into the comments. Let me know. I respond to all of your comments. So I'm very interested to hear what you thought about the video and what do you want to see next. And of course, if you're interested in any of this stuff, go check it out at botspot.trade.